Welcome to Legally Ponzanelli, a podcast dedicated to the real stories behind the legal profession. I'm your host, Stephanie Ponzanelli, a law graduate from the University of Arkansas School of Law. Each week, we will hear from law graduates who share candid conversations, practical advice, and real experiences that show you just how different everyone's journey into the legal profession can be. Today's episode is sponsored by two companies. First, Kaplan Bar Prep. Thanks to them, we are able to do a free bar prep giveaway. If you are interested, make sure you're following us on our social media platforms, which you can find in the link below, but they are Legally Ponzanelli and Legally Ponzanelli Podcast on Instagram. We also have a discount code that stacks with whatever sale they currently have going on, which is, in all caps, Pass with Pons. If you're going to use Kaplan, make sure you save some money. Our second sponsor is Belmonte, a skincare and lifestyle brand built around the reminder to stay still, grounded, and present. They are also linked in the show notes in the link tree. Let's get started. So, do you mind introducing yourself? Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? And thank you for coming on the podcast.
First, my name is Glexdy Rodriguez, and hopefully I'll be a lawyer in April. A little bit about me is I started law school in 2022, graduated 2025. I'm almost a year out. And I'm a mom. I have a 6-year-old baby girl, and I love to travel.
So, where did you go to undergrad?
Rutgers Law School in Camden.
Um, where did you get your bachelor's degree? And what did you get it in?
Oh, undergrad. Oh my god, sorry.
No,
Uh,
you're fine.
I went to Temple. In Philadelphia, and I majored in philosophy. Very random, but
I love asking people that
yeah.
because I feel like some people think you have to have a poli-sci major to go to law school. And I'm like, no, you don't. You
Mhm.
can have it in anything, really.
Yeah, mine's just so honestly, I knew at first I was a pre-law major, and then because I always knew I wanted to go to law school, but then I was speaking to the pre-law people, and then they were telling me a little bit about that. They were like, "You don't really need to have poli-sci or anything legal related." Um, and somebody suggested, "Well, why don't you just do philosophy?" And then I said, "Philosophy? That's so random." But they said to take it because it would prepare me for law school most. They were saying, the readings, we read a lot, so that's why there's literally no real background into it, like, "Oh, you love philosophy?" No, it was simply suggested to me. They said it would help with my analytical reasoning, and then I said, "Oh, whatever, sure." And I enjoyed it a lot,
Do
though.
you feel like it did help? Were you like, oh, they were right. This was super beneficial. Or were you like, I probably would have been fine either way?
I think I would've been fine either way, to be honest, but I think it did help prepare me for, the readings because there were a lot of readings, and a lot of the philosophy readings that I had to do were more it was kinda like translating
Hmm.
language. So, a lot of times, we get those cases in law school which sound dumb, right? Like, you get the opinion and you're like, "What are you really trying to
Yeah.
say here?" Um So it did maybe a little bit there, but I'm sure I would've been fine either way.
So you said you always knew you wanted to go to law school. When did you know, or what made you realize you wanted to be a lawyer?
Honestly, ever since forever. I think when I was a kid, I remember I wanted to be a veterinarian. That was what I wanted to be when I was
Yeah.
young. Then, um, one day, I guess when I maybe at some point in middle school, I come from I'm a first generation, American, so my parents came here. My mom came here 37 years
Hmm.
ago, um, and my dad came here, I don't know how many years ago, but, um, most of my life was in Spanish,
Hmm.
right? So I have parents who still can barely speak English today, but, I think in middle school when I was a little bit smarter than my peers. And I say that only because that's what they would tell me, not that it actually meant
Hmm.
anything. But when I started to question a lot of, in school and just, I guess, life, I remember my parents would always say, tú vas a ser una gran abogada un día because I just never know how to shut up. And then I was like, maybe, maybe you're right. And then, I love arguing, so I was like, okay, whatever, I'll be a lawyer. Um, and then But my life is so like, although I knew that I always wanted to be a lawyer, my path isn't the traditional path. Like, I went to undergrad, community college for 2 years, and then I did the bachelor's program, and then I got pregnant in, undergrad, and I was like, well, that puts a pause on everything." And then the pandemic happened. Um, and then while I was in the pandemic, I remember I was like, you know what? I think I'm ready to take the LSAT. And start the actual journey because again, I was like, what am I gonna do with a philosophy major? Seriously. Um, yeah, and then there I was with a 3-year-old in law school full time.
That I First of all, props to you. You are a super
Girl.
mom to be able to handle like the readings and everything, the writing. School's a lot. But I do want to touch
Yeah.
back because I think our stories are similar because I also went to community college and then got my bachelor's
Mhm.
and then went during the pandemic. I was like, I can't go to law school when I don't even know what's happening right now. And I love that your response was time for the LSAT. You were like,
Yeah.
let's do that. So did you like when you had your child, did you go all the way through or did you pause for a minute? Because you seem very young too.
Yes.
So I don't
I'm 20 oh my god, I'm 30. I'm 30 years
scary. No, I'm
old.
kidding.
I always forget. I always forget. Sometimes I'm like, "29? No, you're in the 30s now." Yeah, no, I'm 30, and it took forever to get through school, to be honest. It took me, I wanna say how long did it take me? I graduated in 2013, high
Mhm.
school, and I didn't graduate with my bachelor's until 2020. So, it took me 7 years to get a bachelor's degree, and I graduated in 2020, took a break for 2 years, um, and then started back up in 2022. Yeah, yeah.
Did you do anything legal related in that gap?
Yeah, so I actually have a very long, I've been in the legal field since 2014. I was a paralegal
Mm,
doing, like, civil practice stuff, and that's when I started my legal career when I was 19 years
oh my
old,
gosh.
and here I am 30.
No, but that's incredible because you got to see like what each stage looks like, which is really cool.
Yeah,
Um, Before I forget
yeah.
too, I meant to ask you, where's your family from?
We're from the Dominican Republic.
Dominicana. Oh my gosh. I went and saw our girl Cardi. I was obsessed.
Oh my god, I heard her concert has been so fun. Oh my
She's
god.
hilarious. Like she does not care what anyone thinks and she's so funny. And I like I wasn't extremely close or anything, but I felt like we were like besties hanging out?
She's a great performer, like, she knows how to engage with her
Mhm.
concert. She's not just there to sing, and dance,
Mhm.
like, she's there to show her ass and really have a
No,
good
and
time.
oh my god, she was doing things that I'm like, I'm literally 28. I'm like, I don't think I could ever bend like that. I don't think I ever did. So, um,
Oh my gosh, and she had 3
girl,
kids.
I was like, you just
Or
had the
is
baby.
it
I think she just had her fourth baby.
4?
Yeah.
4, yeah, 4.
And she was doing things that like I've never been able to do. Like, you are so impressive.
Yeah, like, I can't even barely touch my toes.
That's so fun. So your family's from the Dominican. Are you a first gen in law school as well, in undergrad, or just first gen in law school?
So, no, I would just say first gen law school here. and first gen undergrad here because I have uncles and stuff who went to college and everything, but in Dominican
Cool.
Republic.
Perfect. Yeah.
Um, so, but yeah, I think I'm the first or second. I'm the first lawyer here.
Yay.
Like I'm the first American lawyer. And I'm the second person to get some kind of like doctorate degree. I have a cousin who is a doctor
Oh,
and then yeah,
you guys are like
and
totally
then me.
set now. You've got your doctor, you've got your lawyer.
Like if we I always say like if the world ends and there's like a hub, zombies come, I'm like, we have a little group now. You can be the doctor. I can try to set up new laws in our new little community.
That is so funny. What was your law school experience like?
Okay. So I'll talk a little bit also about how it was to go into law school. Um, First of all, it was a mess. It was a hot mess. I knew I wanted to be a lawyer and I knew that I wanted to go to law school, but how to get there, I had no idea how to get there or where to even
Hmm.
start. I just knew you had to take an LSAT. LSAT gets you into law school, then you figure it out. So, I remember just Googling random took the February LSAT that year. So I was already very late in the cycle. So I knew that if I did not get the score that I wanted, I would have to reapply for the following
Hmm.
cycle. And it's not like undergrad where you can just kind of start at any point, right? Like you have to wait for the next cycle. So there was a lot of pressure and I didn't have anybody that I didn't know any lawyer. Well, I knew the lawyer that I worked for because I worked for one attorney and I worked with him for years, but he was also older, right? He graduated law school in like I want to say in like the 80s, right? So it was just a total different experience. And he also went to Yale. So, we have this totally
Hmm.
different like so, I take the LSAT. I remember I got a 155 and my GPA from my bachelor's program was a 3 I want to say like a 3.7 or something like that. Um but I knew that a 155 wasn't that great, right? I had an average LSAT score. I now have this GPA that is a pretty good GPA, but is this enough to get me into law school, right? And I found out quickly when because I applied to Temple, Drexel, Villanova, and Widener. Those were the 4 schools that I had applied to. Um, my first acceptance was from Widener, and then my first rejection was from Villanova. So, I knew Widener wasn't all I knew was that Google is free, and I'd Google where these schools are ranked, and Widener was not very well ranked. So, I was like, "Dang, I don't wanna go there." Um, and Villanova has rejected me. Temple and Drexel waitlisted me. And then I remember going to Reddit and, like, talking about it, and a lot of people were like, "Don't go to Widener. No, 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 don't do that." Uh but I did not want to wait an extra year. I was like, "I can retake the LSAT and I'll probably do better, whatever, but I do not want to wait a full extra year." So I'm on Reddit and then someone suggested, "Well, why don't you apply to Rutgers?" And, I never heard of Rutgers. It's in New Jersey. I live in Philadelphia. So I was like, do I wanna go over the bridge every day? That's $5 every day. But I was like, "F it." It's the cheapest school in the tri-state area, so I applied madly, super late in the cycle. I wanna say I applied in March,
Wow.
like
Yeah.
mid-March. Yeah. And, and then 2 weeks later, I got an acceptance and I got a scholarship from them, and then I was like,
That's a sign.
Rutgers it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, "Rutgers it is," and I thank that Reddit person who suggested like, "Hey, well, you applied to all those schools. Why didn't you apply to this school? It's right there." And yeah, then it ended up being one, the cheapest option. It wasn't really that far. I so boom, start law school.
Mhm.
And law school was an experience. Did I enjoy it? No. Did I hate it? No, but, like, I didn't like yeah, like, I did not like it. I was a little bit older than a lot of the kids there, so that made me feel weird. I also not just older, right? Like, I have a child, or I have a daughter, so a lot of my peers don't have these responsibilities, and that alone kinda puts me in a place where, like, a lot of people can mess
Mhm.
around and whatever, but I can't really mess around or, during finals, like, if my daughter gets sick, I swear every year during finals, it was always
No.
something. It was always something. One year she got pinworm, and if you I don't know if you know what
No.
pinworms are, but they are insane. Then one year she had a croak, which is kinda like a respiratory issue, and we spent a few days in the hospital. And then the last year, I remember I got into a car accident, nothing bad, but I got into a car accident and then I didn't have a car. My school's in New Jersey, like it was just a mess. So law school was always an experience for me that not a lot of people could relate to that I couldn't relate with a lot of people because not like maybe two, I think I met um 2 other moms while being in law school.
Mhm.
Um, so it was different. Like, it wasn't there was no one I could kinda just be like, "Ugh, I'm having a bad mom
Yeah.
day," right? Like, and now I have to read all these damn cases. But one thing I will say, Rutgers ended up being a very random, application for
Mhm.
me, but I appreciate that I applied there and went there because the community that I that I was able to build there, even with some of the professors, it was great, you know? It was I liked the professors way more than I liked the students,
That's fair. How
but
many
but it was
many people were in your entering class? I didn't realize I don't know why I didn't realize this, but a lot of law schools have a different amount of people that they accept. So ours was like 124, I think. What was yours?
I wanna say mines was like 180 something or 190
Good, so it's
something.
pretty big.
Yeah, but I don't know if that includes because there are 2 campuses. There's a Camden campus and a Newark campus. I don't know if that includes both campuses. I remember on orientation, they were saying how there was 180 or 190 something of us, the incoming class, and my school didn't do ranks.
Oh, how did that
So,
work?
I
That's
um,
cool.
I don't know how that yeah, we didn't it was you didn't know what your rank was unless you asked, I guess.
Mm.
And then in the end, you knew who the top 3 students were. Like, those top 3 students were awarded,
So it just wasn't like
an
something I
award,
think
but
like with our school, every semester they would send out your rank. So with you guys, it wasn't you would have to go ask if you want it. That would be awesome because I didn't care. I'm like, girl, I would just
yeah, no.
I literally would delete the emails. I was like, I don't care.
Yeah, like, I don't even no, that's why I say, like, Rutgers was very, it's not predatory
Mhm.
at all. Like, they were not predatory at all. They let us know during orientation, they were like, "This is not one of those schools where we say, 'Look to your left, look to your right,' because some of these people won't be here next semester." They were not like that at all. It
Good.
was it was super inclusive and very, and they pride on that as well. I don't know if that makes them better or worse, right? I guess it depends on your
Yeah.
perspective, right? People want to know what the ranks are. Um, but yeah, it didn't matter. I wanna say that, very few people were actually removed from the school because of academic stuff.
That's amazing. Our school wasn't like that, but it was still pretty competitive, like score-wise and how people did. I would always joke because people were like, "I wonder who's number one in the class." I'm like, "Guys, it's me." But people would laugh too hard, and I was like, "What if it was?" I mean, it wasn't. I was never close to it, but I was like, "You don't know that."
Right. I'm actually I actually am the number one person, actually. I just got the email this morning.
Guys, it's me, and then I'll like edit it. That's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, no. My school actually, we didn't even know when we were on like dean's list or anything. I was actually talking to
Really?
one of yeah, one of my peers, like she's graduating this year, and she was telling me that they just started like now they give you like a little
Hmm.
certificate or like a letter or something. Um, but yeah, no, we were it wasn't I want to say there's always those competitive
Hmm.
people, obviously. Um, but for the most part, we were all kind of like, I want you to win. We all win. You got an outline. Here goes this outline. Like we're all shared together and we did yeah, I met a lot of cool people, but I also met a lot of like weird people too.
Same. I will say, like, it was interesting because in my like, I feel like every entering class is so different, and so ours was really, like, kind, and then we had a lot of parents, and we've had a lot of older parents too, like, one of my good friends, his name's Dell, he drove 2 hours to law school every day and 2 hours back home because he lived in Oklahoma, or he currently lives in Oklahoma, and he had 2 daughters, um, and his wife's a teacher, and we were always like, "We're rooting for you. You got this." And he did amazing. And then we had another friend, and she was older, and she had 5 kids, and so everyone was always
Mm.
like, we had one professor who was like, "You can bring your kids to class one day," and people would bring them. We're all like, "Oh my God, how cute." Was it kind of like that, or maybe not that much?
No, no, it was. I actually had a my lawyer professor, my legal writing professor, she like she was one of the first people, very
Mhm.
tough, but she admired that about like
Mhm.
me. She said, "Wow, like I can't believe that you're doing this right now." One thing that a lot of people say, like, "Oh, I don't have any kids and I struggled, so I can't imagine how it is to have a kid."
Yeah.
And she was one of those professors that was always encouraging me, like, if you need it, bring her. I will watch her over there on the side while you guys do the
The
like,
briefs or
whatever we were
something?
doing in class
Yeah.
that day. Yeah, like, while you guys do your research, in class, I'll take her over here, and sometimes she would even bring, like, her dog, and she'd be like, "Well, if you wanna bring" my daughter's name is Jelani. "If you wanna bring Jelani, to class, I'm bringing my dog, and she can, like, pet him or whatever." A lot of my professors were very encouraging. Some obviously not so much. They're like, "Well, if she can come, but if she is distracting, then you need to leave." But there were I one of my professors, she had a son as well, same age as my daughter, and I remember, one time she was like, "I don't have childcare today, so if you wanna bring Jelani, let me know. They
Play
can
date
play
at
on the
school.
side." Play date in class, yeah,
Did Jelani get
um,
to go to law school? Did
and
she go sometimes?
yeah,
My
a few
gosh.
times. She's been I think she had to go with me maybe, like, 5
Mhm.
times.
What'd she think?
So, she went a she would be like, she was always in awe, and, when people see kids, they're always, so she'd be excited to go and meet my friends who obviously adored
Mhm.
her, and then she liked the attention. So,
She's like, "I love law school."
she loved yeah, she's like, "Oh my god, I have this one friend, she's actually from Mexico as well, one of my friends that I met in law school, he would always give Jelani $1. So Jelani, every time she saw her, she'd get $1, so she'd be like, "Oh, I wanna go there." Every time her name's Jules. I wanna go see Jules
I wanna go
today."
see Jules.
Yeah.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm such a
Yeah, that
sucker.
was
I'm
my
like,
girl.
kids are so cute when they would bring them in and they're just like enjoying it. That's so great.
And just innocent, right?
Mhm,
Like, just being so innocent. Yeah, no. It was a journey for
mhm,
sure, and she was my girl who would hold me down, even during, like, bar prep and stuff. She'd be like, I remember 'cause, I don't know if you remember when we were chatting on the live, I this was my 2nd time. I failed July
mhm,
25 and then retook in
mhm,
February, and I remember when I got the email, because first of all, I was obsessing, like, that week, I obsessed over when they were
mhm.
coming out. We don't get an exact day. They just kinda say, "Oh, we were getting it in October," so they were like, "Oh, in October is when you're gonna get it." So I was obsessing, like,
Mhm.
obsessing, just every day on Reddit, like, "Well, when do we think we're gonna get them? When do we
Reddit
think we're
is
gonna get them? When do
dangerous.
we think we're gonna get" Yeah, and, people get it at different
Mhm,
times, so I'm like, "Ugh, all these people are getting it, like, when are we?" And then they sent us an email letting us know that tomorrow they were gonna release it. They were like, "Tomorrow, you guys are gonna get your scores, whatever." So I was, like, anxious as heck, but to be fair, anxious just to find out that I failed because I did know after walking out of the first
mhm.
time, the first day, I said, "Oh, no, I did not pass." I
No.
was like, "I did not pass." Um, that shit was hard in my head. I
Mhm,
was like, "Damn, damn." And then the second day, I was like, "Well, maybe I can make up for it tomorrow for MBEs." Because I was always better at
mhm.
MBEs than MEEs just because I just suck at, like, memorizing. So, I was like, "Maybe I'll make up for it tomorrow," and then tomorrow happened, and I was like, "Oh, no, you did not make up for it."
To be fair, it's
I was
hard.
like,
Like, it's not you.
"No." Yeah, no, and also, like, I had a lot of other bullshit, like, like, studying with a kid was really
Yeah.
hard. Um, so whatever, I did that, and then I knew instantly. I was like, I would tell everybody, I'm like, yeah, no, it's a no-go." And they're like, "No, Glexy, like, just you probably did fine. You probably did fine." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, this is just gonna solicit this, whatever. This is just gonna stamp it." So then I opened my results, and then I was like, "Ugh, I knew it," but I still was sad,
Yeah.
right? Even though I knew it, I was still and I remember telling Jelani, and
Hmm.
then I was like I cried, and then she was just like, this broke my heart. She was like, "So does this mean you can't play with me again?" And I was just like, "Oh, no," because bar prep the first time, the understanding was like, "Mommy has to study, mommy has to study." So that was her trauma in her head. She's like, "So does that mean you can't play with me because you have to study again?"
That would break my
Um,
heart. I would be like, "The Barbies are
yeah.
gonna learn a
So then there's
comma."
like mom. Yeah, that's how it was too. I remember I'd be telling her, like, during when I do play dates and stuff, I'm like, "Do you guys know what an anticipatory repudiation is?" And they'd be like, "No." But what anticipatory repudiation is, blah, blah, blah. And they'd be like, "Hmm, okay." So then the Barbies went to buy ice cream.
The Barbie's like, "I don't wanna play with you anymore."
So, yeah, they're like, "Yeah, no, girl, bye." So,
Well,
but she's very mature for her age, and she understood, like, she was a trooper both times, both times. We survived.
can you tell me about where did you take the exam? And did you take it in the same place,
Um,
both times?
no, so first time I took it in Philadelphia, and then second time in Lancaster, which is a surrounding area in, like, near Philadelphia, but it was an hour and a half away from my house. Whereas the first time, it was, like, 20 minutes away, like, I caught the train there, so I didn't have to drive. I caught the train, and I got there and whatever, but the second time, it was a little farther. we got a hotel, and then um, I stayed the 2 nights, and I actually liked the second location better than the first, even though it was
Hmm.
far. Um, I don't
How many
know.
people were
I don't know
testing?
if it was this time, I wanna say there were, like, 480 something people total in Pennsylvania taking the exam. Um, I wanna say that the area or, like, the convention center we had it in was maybe 300
Dang,
people or something like that.
that's a lot. Was that less than when you
But
took it in July?
yeah, way less. The pool for July was, like, 1,500, and I wanna say in our facility alone in Philadelphia was probably, like, 600 people in the room, maybe 700.
I asked someone in New York and they were like, yeah, there was like 3,000 people in the room. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know exactly. I just look at, like, the number. I remember him saying it, like, the proctor or, like, the guy, not the proctor, the guy who tells you, like, the rules or whatever. I remember him saying, like, "Oh, there are 400 and close to 500 people who are taking the Pennsylvania bar exam." But I'm pretty sure that doesn't mean in my
Hmm.
room. Like, it means Pennsylvania and Pittsburgh, because I know they tested in Pittsburgh as well. Um, but yeah, no, in July there's so many more, like so many more. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. I used Barbary the first time.
What were your thoughts?
It was fine. I didn't love the structure or the essays. I
Hmm.
thought it was a little, mm, boring too, right? I
Yeah.
have like, my learning style is very different than other people because since I have ADHD, I'm like, "You have to keep me engaged or then you lost me." So,
Hmm.
they would lose me a lot. And unfortunately, I didn't realize that until very late in the game, right? Like, I think I completed, like, 75% of it before I was like, "Okay, this shit is not working, I need to figure something else out." Um, and then when I realized that it wasn't working, I had a friend who was doing Themis, and she gave me access to her UWorld.
Hmm.
So, for the last month, no, I wanna say, like, 3 weeks. For the last 3 weeks of bar prep the first time, I was just doing UWorld questions and reviewing actual essays and reviewing model answers for those essays just to kinda get an idea of what is getting graded highly, right? So, I didn't love Barbary. The second time around, I was part of, this bar prep this tutoring company, they're called IBIS.
Of them.
Yeah, IBIS, yeah, what is it? It's just IBIS, right? They tutor all kinds. They tutor for the LSAT, they tutor for all kinds of things. Uh, and so I joined their MBE sessions and they had, like, an MEE course as well, and I loved them more than Barbary. Um I also, liked that I could ask them, like, live questions because sometimes live classes are just better, where you can ask questions as opposed to this recording like, you can go back and listen to it, but, like, what if you have this question that's not being answered, right?
Yeah.
So, I enjoyed having actual courses to go to, and they did the same thing where we reviewed a topic, and then we would review questions, and they assigned questions, and then you would get actual feedback, like
Good.
yeah. So, I did that the second time, and then I also did UWorld again because I enjoyed UWorld,
Hmm.
um, and what else did I do? And then the same thing for the essays, I was just doing that. I was, like, reading model answers. Second time around, I studied, I wanna say better. because, like, I was just my schedule
Mhm.
was more, it was just better. Um and so I did all that, but I did a lot this time around. Like, I would wake up at 6, study for 2 hours, then get my daughter ready for school. Then once my boyfriend takes her to school, I would start studying again, and then I'd pick her up at 5, and then, I had the classes with IBIS at night from, like, 7 to 9. So I was, like, studying hard, 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 hard. But a lot of my time this second time around, it was more I made my own plan,
Mhm.
and then I just stuck to it. I think that was what worked best for me, and also being disciplined, right? Because the bar prep courses are good because essentially they're telling you what to do, when to do them, and then you complete them. So, for me, it was making myself a schedule and making sure that that schedule was different. The time were the same, but for somebody like me with my neurodivergent brain, I needed to switch it up. So I couldn't be doing the same thing over and over again. I had to one week I'd do this, and then this other week I'd learn con law in this other way, and then I'd learn crim in this other way. Um, so making sure that I was keeping myself engaged in the material, in
Mhm.
a way that didn't make me bored. Um,
Totally get that because I also have ADHD, and, like, I was like, some of the things on my bar prep isn't helping. This is too passive for me." So I'm glad that you were like, "You know what? I know this isn't. Let me pivot." And I'm a lot of the podcast is, like, talking to people who are like, "Yeah, these just traditional ones just don't work for me." It works for so many people, and I think that's what's hard because 'cause you're like, "Well, how come," someone did do 75% and they pass, like, and when I reached 75%, I was like, I don't know what's going on." Like, I
yeah.
need to do so much more. So, which is why I started doing the lives because I'm like, I will die of boredom if I keep doing MBE questions.
No, yeah, and this I think it's important. Like, I found a study partner this time around as well. First time I didn't, and we would hold each other accountable as well. Like, I would meet with her, and then we'd do questions together. And like, hold each other. I think that was very helpful for me, like the accountability partner stuff.
Mhm.
Um, and having somebody to kind of just pivot off of, right? If I don't get this, maybe you can explain it to me. And then if you don't get it, maybe I can explain it to you. And
Mhm.
that was very helpful for me this time around as well. So when I remember when I saw the lives, I was like, oh my God, um, I can't wait to talk to other people. Like, because bar prep is also so lonely, right?
Yeah.
Um, when you don't have people with you or whatever. So I was like, "Oh, I can't wait to just be like, oh, it's B.' And if it's not B, we'll hear other people typing answers as to why, it's A or whatever." Um,
Mhm.
so I was so happy that it's so funny because the person that I'm talking about that I would study with, she
Mhm.
also came across your lives, and then I don't know if you remember, another student from my school, I saw him under your lives too, and I was like, "I just love that we're all in the same place right now."
Oh my god, who was it? I can't remember.
Danny, we went to the same law school, so it was fun to see how many people were also being put in the same place at the same time, so we could all just, shoot the shit and figure out why, um,
Yeah.
the contract is invalid or whatever.
I loved it because everyone was so nice about it too. Everyone was so helpful and, like, it just felt nice to know, like, okay, I'm not the only one that's like, "What is going on right now?" You know?
I feel like we
How d
all if you don't feel like that, then are you actually doing what you should be doing? It's very
No, that was um, I remember, like, I would get so excited because I would do my FEMA stuff because I was like, "I have to do this because my brain won't let me not do it."
right.
And I was like But if I get it done, I can start my live sooner and I can
Mhm.
hang out.
Mhm. And it's so funny how you consider, like, it's hangout time while you're also trying to figure out why, it's, first degree murder.
Yeah. So you feel a lot more confident on the second round. And do you know when? Did you already scour through Reddit when the results drop?
So I've been hearing they tell us mid-April. We don't have an actual date for it yet. But someone else told me April 10th. So it's
Ooh.
right around the corner, less than a month away, right around the corner. But no, I 100% feel more confident than I
Hmm.
did the the first time. The first time I knew, I was like, yeah, I'll be back in February, unfortunately. But this time, I'm not gonna say I feel confident, like, wow, I ate that. Like, no, 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 no. I don't know. I did know most of the essays. That's how much anxiety the first part gave me. I remember I took a banana and an orange and a fruit roll up because I sometimes I just need a little sugar, and I was like, "That's what I'm eating. I'm not even gonna go try and find food. Like, fuck that." Um, and I'm sitting at this desk, low key crashing the fuck out, and this lady comes over to me and one of the proctors, because she had on like a vest or whatever, she comes over to me and she goes, "You need to be a lawyer because you just look like a lawyer sitting there on this at this desk." And then I was like, maybe that's the
Oh.
reassurance that I needed today. And I was like, you're right. You're right. I know this. I got this. And then I got like a little boost of energy for the second half. And then I walked into the second half and I thought it was good. I was like, okay, these are the questions I remember. These are the ones.
Hmm.
These are the ones that I know. And yeah, but this second time around, I just try to make bar prep fun, if that
Yeah.
as fun as it can be, right? Try to make
Hmm.
it fun. Also, and that's why I did so many questions. I would give myself a treat after each question. I'm like, if you get a 7, anything above a 70, because like also we don't need to reach the sky and the moon and the stars. We just need to make sure that we pass. I don't care.
Hmm.
I would be like, if you can get anything above a 65, but if you get a 70, then you can really um like you can do this thing this weekend with your kid or whatever.
That's so ADHD. I love it because I would do that too. I'd be like, here's a little prize, you know?
Yeah, yeah, get a little prize, and I remember I'd have, like, checklists, make sure I'm checking them off my list so that it gives me a little bit more dopamine.
Yes.
Uh,
I look I looked for dopamine anywhere I could get it. I was like, please. I was gonna ask you, um, were there any unexpected lessons or surprises like during bar prep that you learned? Or any advice you'd give someone who is getting ready to study for the bar exam or who is retaking the bar exam?
um, lessons I learned very quickly, like I said, I had to make sure I was switching it up, right? Like, making
Hmm.
sure every week was or every other day sometimes, like, I would have to switch it up, and I think from retakers, our favorite thing to tell people is, "Please, please, please try to figure out what works best for you sooner than later," right? So if
Yes.
you're taking your bar prep course and you realize, like, you're a week into it or even 2 weeks into it and you're like, "This isn't working for me," it's okay to just figure something else out. Try to figure out what actually works for you because if not, you are going to pay for it in the end, in the long run. Um, if I if you figure it out sooner though, then you can change your plan, right? Figure out if you're gonna go do goat bar prep, which I've heard amazing things about, right? Or if you're gonna one thing that really, really sucks though for I know some people like to stick to it because they paid for it, right? Don't be afraid to move away from your bar prep course if it's not working for you. And it's better to do that sooner than later. Um, like it sucks to have 3 weeks like me left in bar prep and then you realize like, "Oh, Barbary isn't working for me now. I have to try and figure something out in 3 weeks." The sooner you can figure out that this doesn't work for you, don't be afraid to pivot, and try to find something that does work for you. I know because there's so many resources out there now, right? Different bar preps. What sucks the most, I think, is people don't want to pivot because they've paid for the course already, right? And they're expensive.
Yeah. No, for sure.
But you'll pay for it later. If you don't pivot soon, then you will be paying for it again later. Um, and the bar is expensive. You don't wanna sit here and be in the same situation.
How much was your bar exam? Because mine was 1,000. Everyone's is different.
Yeah, mines was not 900. It was like 900 and some change.
And it
But
was 1,000, like, I deferred, so I had to pay 1,000 again the second time. Was it the same for you, or was it cheaper if you took it again?
no, it was actually more expensive. I remember the first time I took it was 800 and like 50 something. And then the second
Hmm.
time was 900 and like something. So it was like $100 more, which sucks.
Yeah, that's a lot of
Why?
money.
Like, to me, it just sucks. So if you can save yourself the heartache or, the financial burden of having to pay for it twice, pivoting is in your best interest. Um,
Yeah.
and another thing I will give people advice is on also just to remember that when you take those, I think a lot of people get anxiety and sometimes anxiety gets the best of them, like during
Hmm.
when you're answering essays with your bar prep course. One thing that eased my anxiety was reading those model answers.
Hmm.
So doing the courses essay questions I think is great because a lot of the time those questions on the bar prep courses are more nuanced than the ones on the actual exam. So you'll have that extra readiness. Um, but it gave me a little bit more hope when I would read the questions, the NCBE released MEE questions and then looked at the model answers for like New York, New Jersey, or there's a
Hmm.
bunch of states that released them. But reading the model answers and remembering the model answer is the best answer that in the cycle, essentially, right? Or the best answers. Um,
Hmm.
and then realizing that the model answers sometimes don't even have correct law, and it's more so like they still got a pretty decent score even though they didn't get it all correct or they forgot a few
Hmm.
things. It makes you feel a little bit better to see how um like a real answer what a real answer looks like because when you're taking bar prep like Barbary and then you read the model answers and you're like, what the heck, you expect me to write all of that in 30 minutes? And it's like, no, they do not.
Hmm.
Remember that and you'll be fine.
Yeah, no, I think that's huge because sometimes I would look at like what I was supposed to write and I'm like, I don't even have time to write all that. Like,
Right.
my
Yeah.
brain can't think of all that right now.
Yeah. I
But,
remember rewriting them when Barbary would give me the model answers and sometimes typing them like after like while looking at it took me more than 30 minutes. So I was like, there's no way you thought that I was gonna be able to write all of that in 30 minutes.
no, and it didn't happen for me
Yeah,
either.
exactly. But you do what you can, right?
Yeah.
You do what you can. Oh, and another my biggest tip to people also is because I got that 9-point essay. Remember I told you that
Hmm.
barely wrote anything for it, but I got 9 points. When in doubt, write something.
Hmm.
Not do not leave anything blank, um, because one issue it could mean a point, right? Like, you get points for every word that you write or you don't write, so even if you're just making some shit up, the issues are the easiest. The issue here is and then you restate whatever the question is asking you, right? Um,
Hmm.
so, like, don't try not to leave any of those points on the table because they can make or break. your score at the end of the day, and being super mindful with timing because
Yes.
30 minutes pass, move on. That's
Yeah.
it. Do not sit there and because then now you're losing points on a question that you could be gaining points from because you decided to write 2 more sentences that probably were not making or breaking your essay anyway.
Yeah. No, agreed. You got to be really like strict with your time, which can be so hard. What advice would you give someone who has a child and wants to go to law school?
Do it, but make sure you have, a plan, right? I think community is very important as well. I have a great community who has been very supportive, um, but I think the first step for when you are starting law school and if you have a kid is figuring out childcare and making sure that you have a plan for childcare, and a backup plan, right?
Hmm.
For the times when your kid is gonna get the flu or pinworms. And you have a brief due that night at, 11:59, but don't be afraid to do it, and your biggest supporter is gonna be your kid that's half the battle. My daughter has I think me going to law school has made her more mature as well, um,
Hmm.
and your kid's gonna be your ride or die, so if you wanna be a lawyer and do it for your kid, then figure out a plan and get it done. And when you just need to scream, scream.
I love that. Um, I Is she really happy now that you're not setting for the bar anymore?
Yes, she is so happy. Sometimes I catch myself, like, scrolling or whatever, and then she'll be like, because I try to be very, mindful for screen time, even with her, but also with me,
Hmm.
and sometimes she's like, "Mommy, you're not studying anymore, so put your phone away." And
It's
I'm
so
like,
funny.
"You know what? You are so right. You are so right." And sometimes what will she say? Like, I'm very dramatic. It's just in my nature. I'm just a dramatic
Hmm.
person. Uh,
Same.
and sometimes I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, if I don't pass again, like I will literally just cry. And the other day, I think the closer it gets to like knowing I just get anxiety, like, I just get random anxiety throughout the day. It'll be like, "Oh my god, what if you didn't pass?" And then now my stomach is on angles and I can't eat because I just have anxiety.
Hmm.
And my boyfriend the other day asked me, he's like, "What's been going on? Like, why haven't you been eating?" And then I'm like, "I just have anxiety right now, like, I don't know why. It's not like I can't find out until a month later anyway." And then he's like, "But try not to think of," like, I think he said something about he said, "Why do you have anxiety?" And then my daughter answered for me, and she was like, "Daddy, she doesn't know if she passed her test yet."
She's like, duh.
She's so funny. She's like she's so observant. It's so
Hmm.
interesting to watch because for the past 4 years of her life, I've been on, like, lawyer mode, you know? So
Hmm.
now she's just very, aware of, like, the whole situation versus in the
Hmm.
beginning when she was 3 when it was just kinda like that was the first time she was going to school, like, we're just coming out of COVID, like, it was so different. Now she's like this mature little child.
How was she? I do want to ask this because how was she at your graduation? Was she so excited?
She was so excited. She she picked out her outfit and she was so cute. Like, she was so freaking cute. Hold on, let me pull up the picture just so I can show you. She was Oh, and I walked on the stage with her, so that was exciting for her too.
Oh my God, I would be crying. I
Look at
literally,
us.
oh my God, she's so gorgeous. And she looks so happy.
Her
You know,
hair.
it'd be really cute. Like
I
if
was
she goes to law school. Oh my God, I literally have chills. That's so sweet.
she doesn't wanna be a lawyer, though. I must traumatize her. She says that, if I she's like,
That's fair.
if I have to take a test like that, then I don't wanna take it, actually."
She's not wrong. I should
Yeah.
take her advice.
She wants to be, like, a million things. She wants to be, a veterinarian just like me. It's so funny. A koala helper because there's this show on Netflix, it's called Izzy's Koala World Izzy's Koala World or something like that. And it's this little girl from Australia who takes care of koalas. And she said, "Oh, that's what I want to do when I grow up." And she wants to be a dentist. So she wants
Oof.
to be a veterinarian, a dentist, and a koala helper. I said, "Well, baby girl, it may not be the bar exam, but you're gonna have to take some kind of test. It's probably gonna be very hard." And then she's like, "Oh, well, I'll just figure that out later."
That is so fun. I like all the 3 different jobs she wants to do.
Yeah, she's the cutest. She
She
is
looks
the
so
cutest.
gorgeous in that. Oh, that's so s I'm s did they was it your idea or was the school like, "You should walk her up there with you?"
No, that's a tradition that they have at my school. You
Really?
Yeah, so you're allowed to take, if you're a caretaker or a parent, you're allowed to take, your kids on stage or whoever it is that you're caring for. It's so cute. I saw there was a part-time student, I never really spoke to her before, but she had 5 kids in law school too,
Wow.
and she graduated, like, summa cum laude, like, very smart, very, very smart lady, and she took all 5 of her kids on stage with her as well.
Oh my god, I'd be, like, just crying the whole time. So
Yeah.
happy.
I
I
have
love that.
I have a friend who she's a caretaker of her brother who has autism,
Mhm.
and she walked the stage with him as well. It's so cute. It's super cute. It's like a Kodak moment, right? Like you get to take a picture,
Yeah.
this person. It was nice.
I love that. Well, I was gonna ask you, is there anything else that you wanted to share with the listeners? Anything that I might have missed?
Okay, one more thing that I would share. I think this goes more so to people like us who are first gens who don't have much of a network, right? Because I
Mhm.
know I I didn't, and I was not the most social person in law school, so I didn't really love going to networking events that would give me, and I also wanted to come home to my family, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
There's all these events that you can go to, and they're geared for people who have the time and the opportunity to go to them. And if you do have the time and the opportunity to go to them, you should 100% network because you never know, right?
Mhm.
But for those people who are going into law school and have no idea where to start, I think. But yeah, for people like us who don't have a network or first generation students who honestly have no idea where to start, my number one advice for them is to find someone somewhere who is going to give you a place to start, right? It's
Mhm.
very frustrating to do it like me, right? Like, oh, I took February LSAT without realizing, like, that is so late in the game. If you would have taken
Mhm.
December, maybe you would have been able to take it again, and, like, giving yourself time, like, it's just about, and for the most part, somebody's gonna listen, right? Like, I know that if a future law student was to ask me, well, what did my journey look like and what are the things that I learned from the journey? Um, I will sit here, and I love a good question, right? I'll sit here and I'll tell
Mhm.
you exactly what I think is the correct process, or scholarships, right? Like knowing what scholarships to apply to, or knowing that there are associations that give out scholarships for everything, right? Like for LSATs, like
Mhm.
there's so many things and so many resources out there that I wish I would have known before starting law school. Um
Mhm.
and I think that they should not be like me, and they should try and find somebody that has already gone through the experience so that they can give you, and you take everything with a grain of salt at the end of the day, because no two experiences are ever the same. Um, but trying to find somebody who is going to guide you, because most of us wish we had mentors, and
Mm-hmm.
most of us are not afraid to be a mentor to somebody if we can, right? I
Yeah.
think that had I known somebody like me, had I met a me,
Mm-hmm.
then I would have learned so much more. I would have been in so many different places, in so many different rooms, because
Mm-hmm.
knowledge goes such a long way. But that is something that I wish for future first generation law students who look like us, who are, you know,
Yeah.
going through it and have nowhere to start. Try to find somebody who is going to show you where to start. And again, while taking everything that they say with a grain of salt, but
Mm-hmm.
um that goes such a long way. That it can go from you being in this room versus a different room, and not saying we all end up, I mean, I'm a firm believer of we all end up exactly where we need to be.
I agree.
So
Yeah.
our experiences are meant to go the way that they go for a reason, but maybe that was my experience so that I can later guide a different person so that they can have a better experience, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, no, and I'm open, right? Like my email is always open, and if there's ever a lost law student somewhere and they need to talk, I'm willing to listen. I'm sure you are as well. Um
Yeah.
and I know so many people who are just open to questions. So don't be afraid to ask questions, and yeah, and good luck on your journeys through law school, to law school, and after law school to the bar exam, and then after the bar exam, because the world is infinite, and yeah, I can't wait to be an attorney and to work with a lot of the future attorneys that may be
Yeah.
listening to this podcast.
I'm sure everyone in the show or in the podcast would love to hear from you once you find out you've passed, because I know you will. So what I'll probably do is gather some questions if I have some people send any questions in that they have for you, give them to you ahead of time. And if you want to do another one post bar, post being an attorney, a licensed one, let me know.
Yeah, for sure. I'm always open. I'm very glad that we were able to connect through such a small world, such a big world, right? But such a
Yeah.
small thing, right? And
Yeah.
now you have a friend on this side, I have a friend on that side, and we're on, what is it called? We have a different time zone here, right? That's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, yeah.
It's always fun to meet people, and I don't know if you noticed, but I love me a good yap session. So
Me too.
I'm a yapaholic.
Me too. I'm addicted
No,
to yapping.
seriously. So yeah,
Well,
I'd love to be back also.
yes. Thank you so much for coming on here, and we will hear from you again.
Yes, can't wait to be back. Thank you for having me.
That's it for today's episode. Again, I'm Stephanie Ponzanelli, and this is Legally Ponzanelli. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. A special thank you to our sponsors, Kaplan Bar Prep. Thank you for allowing us to give away free bar prep. Again, if you would like to use our discount code to save an extra $100 on whatever sale they currently have, use our code PASSWITHPawns. And we'd love to thank our sponsor, Belmonte, a brand rooted in the reminder to stay still, grounded, and present, even in the middle of big goals and busy seasons. They will also be linked to the link in our show notes. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love for you to share it with a friend, a classmate, or a colleague, and post it on social media. It truly helps the show grow. And if you're not already following along, you can find me on TikTok at Legally Ponzanelli and Instagram at Legally Ponzanelli Podcast. If you have comments, questions, or suggestions for future guests, email me at legallyponzanelli@gmail.com. And if you're a law graduate who wants to share your story, I would love to hear from you. Until next time, stay grounded, stay present, and keep building your path.